The first time my sister left her kids at my apartment without asking. I convinced myself it was an emergency. She called me in tears saying she had an important meeting she couldn't miss. Before I could even answer, she was already outside my building. She kissed the kids goodbye, promised she'd be back in 2 hours, and drove away. She came back almost 8 hours later. She apologized so many times that I felt guilty for being upset. She was a single mother, life was hard, and I wanted to believe she truly needed help. That was the beginning. Over the next year, emergencies became routine. Sometimes she would text me outside, open the door. Other times she wouldn't text at all. I'd hear the doorbell, open it, and find my 7-year-old nephew and 5-year-old niece standing there, with backpacks, while my sister's car disappeared around the corner. I loved those kids more than anything. None of this was their fault, but my life slowly stopped being mine. I had a full-time remote job with strict deadlines. Every unexpected babysitting day meant missed meetings, late projects, and awkward conversations with my manager. Friends stopped inviting me out because I cancelled so often. My weekends disappeared. Even grocery shopping became impossible because I never knew when 2 children would suddenly appear at my door. Whenever I confronted my sister, she always had the same answer. Your family, or it takes a village, or my personal favorite, you don't even have kids, it's not like you're busy. That sentence always made my blood boil. She had no idea how hard I worked to build a stable life, but if I defended myself, she'd accuse me of being selfish. Then our parents would call. She's under a lot of stress. You know, she's doing her best. Family helps family. No one ever asked how I was doing. One Friday afternoon, I had the biggest presentation of my career. Months of preparation came down to one online meeting with senior executives. My manager warned me, don't be late. This could determine who gets promoted. I spent the entire morning rehearsing. 15 minutes before the meeting, the doorbell rang. I ignored it. It rang again and again. Finally, I opened the door. There stood my niece and nephew. My sister was already walking back toward her SUV. Wait, I shouted. She didn't stop. She simply waved without turning around. I'll pick them up tonight. Then she drove away. I stared in disbelief. I called her immediately. Straight to voicemail. Again. Voicemail. Again. Nothing. The kids looked at me nervously. Mom said we're staying here. I smiled at them because they didn't deserve to see how angry I was. Come inside. 5 minutes into my presentation, my nephew accidentally knocked over a glass of juice onto my laptop. The screen went black. My microphone disconnected. I spent 10 frantic minutes trying to reconnect, using my phone, while my manager messaged me asking where I had gone. By Monday morning, I was called into a meeting. We're disappointed, my manager said carefully. We expected more professionalism. I tried explaining. He simply nodded. I understand family emergencies happen, but this has become a pattern. That sentence hit harder than anything else. A pattern. He was right. Not because of me, because I kept allowing it. That evening I drove to my parents' house. My sister was there laughing over dinner as if nothing had happened. I waited until everyone finished eating. Then I said calmly, "We need to talk." She rolled her eyes. "What now?" "You cannot leave your kids with me without asking any more." Silence. Then she laughed. "You've got to be kidding. I'm serious. You love spending time with them." "I love them," I answered. "But that doesn't make me their free babysitter." Our mother's smile disappeared. Our father folded his arms. My sister leaned forward. "So you're abandoning your own family?" "No," I replied. "I'm setting a boundary." She scoffed. "Look who's been reading therapy books." I ignored the comment. "If you need childcare, ask me in advance. If I'm free, I'll gladly help. And if you're not, then you'll need to make other arrangements." Her face turned red. "You've changed?" "No," I said quietly. "I've finally realized something has to change." She stood up so suddenly that her chair fell backwards. Unbelievable. She grabbed her purse and stormed out. Before leaving, she looked directly at our parents. "Remember this when I stop bringing your grandkids around." Then she slammed the front door. The room became painfully quiet. A few seconds later, my mother sighed. "You could have handled that better." I looked at her in disbelief. What exactly did I do wrong? "You embarrassed your sister." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I lost an opportunity at work because of this. Dad shook his head. "Jobs come and go. Family is forever." I stood there staring at both of them. For the first time in my life, I realized they genuinely believed I was the problem. I left without another word. That night, my phone exploded with messages. My sister had posted a long emotional story on social media. According to her, I had abandoned innocent children and turned my back on family when they needed me most. Hundreds of people commented. Some called me selfish. Others said I should be ashamed. Even relatives I hadn't spoken to in years started messaging me. Most of them had heard only one side of the story. I wanted to defend myself. Instead, I turned off my phone. For the first time in months, my apartment was quiet. No surprise visitors, no unexpected responsibilities, just silence. I thought maybe the worst was finally over. I had no idea that the following week would change my life forever. For the first time in over a year, I drank my coffee without wondering if my sister would suddenly appear at my door. I focused on work, determined to repair the damage I'd caused to my reputation. Around noon, my phone rang. It was my sister. I stared at the screen until it stopped ringing. A few seconds later, she sent a text. "Open your door." My heart sank. I walked to the window overlooking the parking lot. Her SUV was parked outside. The kids were standing beside it with their backpacks. I didn't move. Another message appeared. "Hurry up, I'm already late." I took a deep breath and replied, "No, I told you to ask first." Almost instantly, my phone exploded with calls. I ignored everyone. Then another text arrived. "You're seriously doing this?" I typed one sentence. "Take your children with you." For several minutes, nothing happened. Then I watched her drive away, leaving both children standing alone outside my apartment building. My blood ran cold. I rushed downstairs. The kids looked confused. "Mom said you'd come." I hugged them immediately and led them inside. I called my sister. No answer. Again. Nothing. I sent a message. "Come back right now." No reply. An hour passed. Then 2. The children became worried. My nephew quietly asked, "Did Mom forget us?" That question broke my heart. I realized this wasn't just irresponsible anymore. It was dangerous. After trying every possible way to contact her, I finally called the non-emergency police line. 20 minutes later, an officer arrived. I explained everything, showing months of text messages, missed calls and security camera, recordings from my apartment building. The officer listened carefully. Then he looked at me. "You did the right thing by calling." About 40 minutes later, another patrol car returned. My sister had finally answered her phone. She stormed into my apartment furious. "You called the police on me." "I called because you abandoned your children." "They were safe with you." "They weren't with me," I replied. "They were standing alone outside." The officer stepped between us. "Mom leaving young children unattended can have serious legal consequences." Her confidence disappeared. She suddenly started crying. "I was only gone for a little while." The officer remained calm. "That doesn't change what happened." She collected the children without another word and left. I thought that would be the end. I was wrong. Within hours, our entire family knew. This time, however, the story was different. The police report existed. The security camera footage existed. The text messages existed. People who had criticized me online suddenly stopped commenting. Some even apologized. Others quietly deleted their posts. A few days later, Child Protective Services contacted me. They asked if I would explain what had been happening. I told them the truth, not to punish my sister, to protect the children. Over the next several weeks, my sister was required to attend parenting classes and work with a family support program. She was furious with me. Our parents blamed me at first. "You could have handled it privately," I answered with one question. "How many times did I try?" Neither of them replied. Months passed. Slowly, something unexpected happened. My sister changed. She stopped assuming everyone would solve her problems. She arranged proper childcare. She started asking instead of demanding. One evening she called me. "I need help this Saturday." There was a long pause. "If you're busy, I understand." It was the first time she'd ever said that. I checked my calendar. "I'm free." She sounded surprised. "Really?" "Yes." When someone asks respectfully, "I'm happy to help." She thanked me. No guilt, no manipulation, just gratitude. A few weeks later, my nephew handed me a drawing. It showed the 3 of us smiling together. At the top, he'd written in crooked handwriting, "Best uncle ever." I smiled, but my eyes filled with tears. None of this had ever been about refusing to help. I loved those children with all my heart. What I refused to accept was being treated like a free babysitter whose life didn't matter. Sometimes the hardest word to say is no, but that one word saved my career, protected 2 innocent children, and in the end, forced our family to build healthier relationships. Looking back, I don't regret calling the police. I regret waiting so long to stand up for myself, because boundaries don't destroy families. They reveal which relationships are built on respect and which ones survive only because someone keeps sacrificing themselves.